Notre Dame and DePaul met 5 weeks ago. Today, Joey Meyer and Digger Phelps rejoined the battle. The first game was tied, 6 seconds. Keith Robinson had missed 1 free throw. The second didn't find a home, and when the dust cleared, it was overtime. Time to go to school. Meyer gaining respect and stature on the heels of last year. Phelps, the gray eminence of the Irish, with a national profile. But in overtime, the only thing that matters is the best laid plan. And on this day, it was put the ball in the hands of DePaul's Kevin Edwards. This rebound effort put the Blue Demons on top to stay. DePaul and Notre Dame share the faith, but they slug it out on the court. Round 1 to the Blue Demons. The Irish get a shot today at home.
Is on hand at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center as the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame take on the DePaul Blue Demons in a critical game for these two independents. Hello, everyone. I am Tim Brando, and welcome to a Saturday feast of college basketball, the first of 5 big games today on ESPN. Now, DePaul and Notre Dame, an interesting matchup here because as independents, every game is very important, particularly if you want to get a bid to March Madness from the NCAA. And when you start talking about DePaul, the focal point is guard Rod Strickland, who has been swirled in controversy for the past week. It all began with a problem at his dormitory. It then stemmed over to missing practice. Now, all of a sudden, he's back. But is he healthy? And if he is healthy, is he mentally involved? We asked Joey Meyer.
Rod missed a practice before the Georgetown game, so I didn't start him for Georgetown. Yeah, he didn't play very well. Had a hard time dealing with not playing very well, so he didn't make practice on Monday. So he missed practice 2 weeks in a row, so I suspended him for a basketball game. He did not play at all against Dayton. Obviously, we didn't play very well without him. He also has a little incident in the dorm, which I think is really being overblown. He got in a little argument verbally with a RA, a resident advisor, and the university has sanctioned both people. And I think the issue's dead. As far as I'm concerned right now, Rod has served his punishment. We want to put this thing behind us, and he knows that this last chance now, he needs to do things in the right way. And I just hope people give him a chance to be successful.
Glenn Buckner, the ex-Indiana great, former Boston Celtic, joining us for the first time. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, and let's talk about now, from a player's perspective, what the Strickland situation really means to DePaul.
Well, if I'm on DePaul, I got to be concerned whether or not Rod Strickland is here, for the duration. He's had some problems. Tonight is an opportunity for him to come in, play as well as he can, and show me that he wants to be a part of his basketball team.
Now, when these two clubs last met, it really came down to the pressure in the backcourt from DePaul. They were down by 6 with just over a minute and a half to play, sent it into overtime, and beat a then-ranked Notre Dame team.
Well, absolutely, and I think both coaches have kept that in consideration during their practice. I know DePaul, if I'm going out Joy, I got to come out pressure and try to see can I disturb Notre Dame again. Knowing Digger, I'm sure he's had some practice to try to work against that pressure.
Situation coaching, right?
Absolutely.
We'll get a little bit of that. We're looking forward to bringing you the first of 5 big games on ESPN today. And, of course, anchoring it all back at our studios, Bob Lee. Bob?
Thank you, Timmy. You and Quinn are the front end of a very big day. We've got DePaul and Notre Dame upcoming in just a second. This is the very first game starting today around the country, so we'll be checking the scores as we get down through the later games. We've got 3 games on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Coming along at halftime, though, of this game, a look back towards last night. If you weren't up with us late last night, the game between BYU and Wyoming from the WAC. A look once again at the highlights, probably not make your morning paper. And also a look ahead towards our 9 o'clock Eastern game tonight as we take a look at North Carolina, 12-1 on the season. Dean's 800th game tonight with the Tar Heels. Off to South Bend after this.
You know, there's nothing like a winner. That's why I'm driving this, the Advanced Big Ford Pickup. America's best-selling pickup for 11 straight years. And I got more for my money with this special model. It cost me over $1,100 less than a comparably equipped Chevy. And I really go for Ford's advanced features like multi-port fuel-injected engines and anti-lock rear brakes. Yeah, Ford. If you don't go with a proven winner, what are you going with?
Get $500 cash bonus on new manual transmission F-Series pickups during Ford's Leadership Celebration.
The Great American face. Rugged, distinctive. The Great American razor. Atra. Solid. Pivots for closeness. The Great American face deserves the Great American shave. Atra. Only from Gillette.
Hi there. You looking for Mr. Wright?
Give this guy a light.
Wow.
And Bud Light here.
Ask for Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the chains.
A special report from Payne Weber. For the past few months, investors have been focusing on the trade deficit, a key influence on the financial markets and the economy. Let's get Payne Weber's reaction now to the latest figures.
The numbers were much better than expected, which is good news for the U.S. economy. It looks like the falling dollar is finally starting to help our trade balance. Our trade deficit improved in November, but most significantly, our exports rose to a record level while our imports fell 6%. Admittedly, this is a volatile number, and 1 month does not make a trend, but it is a step in the right direction. And some really good news, while the lower dollar is helping trade, it is not causing higher inflation. Producer prices fell in December, and for all of 1987, the inflation rate was only 2.2%. All in all, it's looking like 1988 will meet our expectations of modest growth and continued low inflation.
Thank you, Mary. And goodbye from Payne Weber.
ESPN's NCAA basketball, DePaul and Notre Dame. Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by the financial professionals at Payne Weber.
8-4 DePaul against 9-3 Notre Dame from the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. Interestingly, Notre Dame in this series has as many losses against DePaul as anyone. But then again, they've also had more victories against DePaul. And you see there, DePaul has won 8 of the last 11, but the Blue Demons have lost 3 of their last 5. We're ready now for the starting introductions of our game with that public address announcer, Jack Lloyd.
Here are the starting lineups for the visiting Blue Demons of DePaul University. At forward, 6'4" and a junior from Flint, Michigan, number 13, Terrence Green. At forward, 6'7" and a junior from Los Angeles, California, number 23, Stanley Brundy. At center, 6'9" and a senior from Jackson, Michigan, number 55, Kevin Golden. At guard, 6'3" and a senior from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, number 20, Kevin Edwards. At guard, 6'3" and a junior from the Bronx in New York, number 10, Rod Strickland. The head coach of the Blue Demons in his 4th year, a 1971 DePaul graduate, Joey Meyer. And now, the starting lineups for your Fighting Irish. At forward, 6'9" and a senior from Queens in New York, number 54, Gary Bose. At forward, 6'7" and a junior from Ziegler, Illinois, number 33, Sean Connor. At center, 6'9" and a sophomore from Plantation, Florida, number 43, Scott Paddock. At guard, 6'2" and a sophomore from Peoria, Illinois, number 40, Jameer Jackson. He's a guard. He's 6 feet. He's a senior. He's out of Jersey City, New Jersey. His number is 4. His name is David Rivers. The head coach of the Fighting Irish, Digger Phelps.
From the heartland all the way to the Vatican. They love this matchup, and we've got it. DePaul against Notre Dame.
Is your home a Nickelodeon home? Dad's eating dinner, the dog got his bone. I get it, that's the bone. Mom's at the table, dishing the food. Everybody's in a very good mood singing Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon. But sis, what's the channel for kids? I don't know. Come on, tell me what it is. Nickelodeon.
Be like us, watch Nickelodeon on cable TV.
On the tri-corner of Lincoln, Diversey, and Racine, Chicago's only 100% consignment shop. With 9,000 square feet of browsing space. Stepping through our doors is like rummaging through your grandparents' attic, as we carry a timeless variety of quality handcrafted furniture at far below competitive prices. The Time Well, 549-2113, 2780 North Lincoln Avenue.
We're back at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center, and with the keys to victory, Quinn Buckner. Quinn?
Well, I think it's important for Notre Dame to handle the pressure. Jameer Jackson's primarily responsible for that. I'm sure DePaul's going to pick it up. The tempo has to be set by the coach on the floor for Notre Dame, and that's David Rivers, their floor leader. I think DePaul, in order for them to be successful, got to get some rebound baskets by Kevin Golden and also Brundy. And absolutely, Rod Strickland has got to perform here today. The guys got to know that he's going to be there when they need him.
Rod Strickland, we should mention, also suffered an ankle sprain in practice yesterday. So not only is his mental aptitude being stressed here, but just how well will he be physically? Our officials, Steve Welmer, Steve Skiles, and Sam Licklider out of the Mid-America Conference. And the toss controlled to Notre Dame, and the man that controls the tempo, David Rivers, runs the show. Jameer Jackson has his pocket picked, and we get an early sign from Rod Strickland.
Yeah, he's coming out aggressive defensively, and I'm sure that's something that Joey Myers got to like.
Golden inside the paint, and it's 2-0 DePaul.
Well, that's a great opportunity by Golden. I think that's something that's a good sign also. You get a kid to come off the bench and score like that.
Averaging 3.4. He had an outstanding game when the two last met at Rosemont, and that's the reason that Joey Meyer elected to start him. Bose off the back iron, and Paddock went up the back of Stanley Brundy, and he gets his foul, and the ball goes back to DePaul. And already, Digger Phelps begins to work the officials here. Won't take long for the man with the carnation.
I was going to say, Digger's known for doing that. If you look right now, you see that Notre Dame is in a zone. They're in their matchup zone.
Edwards, who certainly has three-point range, penetrates and plays the nylon tune. And it's 4-0 DePaul. Notre Dame has failed to scratch in the first minute of play here at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. Tim Brando and Quinn Buckner joining us for the first time. We're happy to have him and you here on ESPN today. Rivers for three.
But David Rivers, that's something that Diggers encouraged him to do a lot more this year, to take that three-point opportunity, and he took advantage of it on that shot.
4-3 our score. Golden, well, he feels the pinch there from Rivers. Strickland loves to penetrate and force the outside shot from Edwards. Golden on the offensive glass. And he picks up the foul.
But, you know, if I'm Joey, I got to like the aggressiveness of the big guy. He knows that they got to get some easy baskets. As you can see right there, he went right after the basketball. Yet, you get a foul, but I think the coach is willing to take that occasionally.
Well, we mentioned that in our keys. Golden, along with Brundy, if they play well with possible putbacks, they are quicker off their feet than Notre Dame's front line, aren't they?
Absolutely. So I think there's something to see most of this afternoon.
Jameer Jackson, who has performed so well of late, inside the lane with the left hand.
That's a great move going to the left. But DePaul has got to get in there and close the middle off. There's no way a guy should be able to drive that down the middle and nobody cut him off.
Notre Dame by one. Strickland. Golden off the offensive glass, and he took steps. Joey Meyer wanted to foul against Paddock, but it wasn't coming. And there's the green carnation.
I think the shot that you just saw Rod Strickland take is one where he's trying to show everybody, yes, I am here, I want to make a contribution early. And I think he needs to get his emotions out of the game as much as possible. But this is always an emotional game.
So in a sense, he has to fight himself a bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Rivers, blocked. Partially blocked by Edwards. He can sky. And now Terrence Green. who has also been shooting well for Joey Meyer. Looks inside for Brundy. The iron unkind, and it's controlled by Rivers. And here he is in the open court, where he's so dangerous. Connor is wide open.
That's a shot that he can make all night. I mean, they want him to shoot the three-point shot, and Diggers really decided to take advantage of those three-shot opportunities. That was a great play by David Rivers to draw and kick out for that shot.
8 unanswered points now for Notre Dame in the last 2 minutes, and here comes the crowd. Strickland silences them with a three-pointer to make it 8-7 Notre Dame.
Yeah, a three-pointer would definitely silence her. I would question the shot by the fact that you need to be patient when you got a crowd getting into the game like that and try to get shots more so inside. But I think a coach would say that's one of those bad shots, good shot when it goes in.
Bad shot, oh, good shot, right?
Exactly.
Connor, when he spots up around the line, he's tough. And a foul against Golden again. Not fronting Gary Vost. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it surprises me a little bit that they won't front him, but I think they may be worried about Notre Dame getting some offensive opportunities from the rebound. And David Rivers, by the way, made a great pass inside to catch Golden out of position.
David to inbound. We've played 3.5 minutes. It's been a game of spurts. DePaul with the first 2 hoops, and now Notre Dame on a run. Vost.
You know, we spoke earlier with Joey. That's one of the things he was concerned about, some of the inside defensive play. And Notre Dame is allowed to do that all day, as I'm sure everybody's aware. That's going to make them be in a very difficult position.
Nice pass to Green, and there's Golden with his third. And that will force the hand of Joey Meyer. He'll have to go to the Pine to bring in Holland as Golden checks out.
Well, from this angle, you see that Strickland looks like he goes up from his shot. He dishes it inside. Terry Green has got to get this into the basket. He doesn't get it in. It comes off, and you can see clearly Golden goes right across the back of Vost. He picks up his third foul.
There's Golden sitting down. With 3 quickies, we've only played 3 minutes and 50 seconds. But Kevin Holland is an experienced player, just a sophomore, but he's been starting a bit and perhaps has a quickness advantage.
Great pass. That's a great pass from Jamil Jackson. There was a pick set out there, the switch, and the pass inside for an easy basket.
12-7. The Irish have outscored DePaul 12-3 in the last 3 minutes. Terrence Green drills it. A junior from Flint, Michigan. 51% from three-point range. He'll shoot you right back into a game.
Yeah, he sure will. He'd been struggling early. He got off to a good start, started struggling a little bit, and now he's starting to shoot play pretty well. He sounded well against Dayton also.
He had 24 in that game on Thursday night. Jackson may have taken steps there.
Yeah, he may have taken steps, but it was the right idea, taking it to the basket.
4 minutes and 45 seconds are gone from the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. The Irish by a deuce.
It runs with a beauty, an inner strength, a force that sets it apart. Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Run with it.
Now, during Ford's Leadership Celebration, get a $600 cash bonus on Thunderbird.
You want anything?
How about a light?
Whoa!
Oh, Bob, could you make that a Bud Light?
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Did you see? No. Did you?
No. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
I got a different kind of face. A different kind of smile. Check it out. A different kind of grace. I go at my own pace. I got a different kind of style.
At Pearl, we find out what makes you different. That's what makes us different. You not only get your glasses fast, you get just what you're looking for.
I got a different kind of style. Yes, I do.
Joey Meyer, whom I asked earlier, was is this the most difficult week for him? He said, no. The first 2 years were far more difficult than what I've had to deal with this past week. But it's a very tough spot for him to be in, not really knowing what kind of organization he's going to have on the floor without that man running the show, number 10 in blue.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Rod hadn't been in the starting lineup in practice for over 10 days, and I think that has to be a cause for concern because you lose a lot of your timing, and the team needs to develop a flow, and it's hard to get that continuity.
There you see the ankle wrap and brace that he's using, and during the warm-ups, Joey Meyer noticed that he was not putting weight on that foot. Obviously, Strickland was saving it because he has done very, very well the first 5 minutes here.
Yeah, he has. Notre Dame came out and extended their defense a little bit until DePaul got it over half court. Now you see they're backed up into that matchup zone.
Terrence Green, nice pass inside. It nearly got stuck up there. Edwards couldn't put it down, and a tough miss for DePaul.
Yeah, really, that's a tough break because it was a great pass, and that's one that you got to get in the basket right there.
Oh, had that one stuck between the rim and the backboard, Edwards would not have heard the end of that the rest of his career.
Oh, absolutely. The guys are giving him a lot of heat for that one. We got the kind of tempo I thought we'd see here with the Irish. They're taking their time with the ball, trying to get their good opportunity.
Using the shot clock, about 20 seconds per possession. Shot clock is at 15 now, and a near steal forces a foul from Strickland.
Yeah, that was a poor position. He was behind the man while he was down on the block. Once the ball came in, he tried to reach in and get it. And again, he's just trying to make some things happen here.
Bose to inbound. Notre Dame with the lead, 12-10. They've had that lead most of the way. Rivers, he gets the opposition airborne and he makes them pay. Rebound is lost out of bounds. Paddock comes up with it. Grundy couldn't get the handle. Paddock is open. The offensive boards belonging to Notre Dame, and Edwards gets the foul, and Myers upset.
Well, we're talking about offensive baskets for DePaul, but right now Notre Dame is getting a lot of offensive opportunities. I mean, DePaul is not blocking out, and they're allowing these easy opportunities, and that will definitely cause a coach to get gray hairs, I'll tell you that.
He won't let Digger Phelps get upsmanship in his home building.
No, not if you can bet on that one.
Yep.
You see now, DePaul is right now in a 2-1-2 or 2-3 zone from the out of bounds.
Bose, too strong. He was intimidated a bit there by Grundy, and here comes Edwards the other way.
And good job getting back by Notre Dame.
Well, they worked on that in practice yesterday. Get back, don't let DePaul beat you down the floor. Edwards just inside the three-point line, counted for two, and we're tied with a dozen apiece. 13:20 left in the first half. We look at the DePaul defensive deployment.
Well, right here, you see David Rivers is just out with the ball. DePaul is going to probably sag as much as they can and just be aware of Rivers.
And a foul on Bose. On Bose away from the ball.
Well, right here you see Edwards on Rivers, and he's just moving around. And then all of a sudden you see Bose is just all of a sudden just moving Grundy out of the way, and that's a good call. I mean, there's going to be some banging. This is an emotional game, but I think this is one way the officials get a chance to slow some of that banging down.
He and Holland are very active down there, and Bose may not have the same kind of quickness.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, because I think DePaul may have the better athletes.
They turned it over. Notre Dame gets it the other way. A couple of times now, the big people for DePaul on both ends, off the defensive glass and then on the offensive end, have lost the handle.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he was doing out that far away from the basket, because I don't know what he would have done with the ball once he got it.
Paddock.
Great pass. Great pass. For a big man like that, Bose made a nice little lob pass right to Paddock for an easy stuff.
A little high-low action from the big people.
Yes.
From Notre Dame. 14-12, the Irish by 2. Edwards finds Strickland for 3.
Well, that was a tough shot, too, because David Rivers came at him at the shooting hand, and Strickland was still able to shoot the ball over David Rivers' hand.
From the streets of the Bronx, Strickland plays his way. And many times it's the difference for DePaul. Ask the rest of the Blue Demons after the Dayton game if Rod Strickland matters.
Oh, he makes a difference. There's no question about that, as Joy said to us earlier. You see now DePaul is again in their zone. They gone out of their man-to-man and they're in the zone.
Rivers. How many times do we see that, Quinn? One great play by one guard brings the other great play from the other guard.
And I think that's the natural competitiveness of these guys. But if you see a team in a zone like that, and you've got a couple players that can shoot that three-pointer, that's one of the reasons it was put in.
Good interior passing to Brundy. Terrence Green with a marvelous interior pass.
And a great catch, because Brundy was coming under the basket and really had to kind of stop his momentum and catch it at the same time. That was a great play.
They love to work the isolation, don't they, for David Rivers?
Well, they really do, because they know that once he gets the basketball, he can make so many things happen. That's a good play inside.
Bose brings the foul, and you get the feeling right now that what Digger's trying to accomplish is get DePaul's big people in foul difficulty.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that Digger is confident that his big people can come in off the bench and probably give him a little bit more than what DePaul's big people can.
If depth becomes a factor, Digger Phelps may have it on his side, particularly when you consider we haven't seen Keith Robinson to this point. Paddock comes out along with Jameer Jackson, and Keith Robinson does come in along with Frederick there. Number 3, Joe Frederick, the sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio, who's been logging some playing time lately. He did have a bout with tendonitis earlier in the year.
Well, he might be a little rusty. I don't think he's played in a couple games, but they expect to get a lot of good play out of him. I think for the first few minutes here that Digger's got to be real pleased with the play that he got from both Paddock and Jameer Jackson. They got plays inside, and I would be real happy for him.
Gary Voss, who has a history of disappearing, has not for the first 9 minutes at least here at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. The Irish with a narrow lead.
Hey, Chicago! This is Hawk, one half of the Tag Team Road Warriors, and I'm down at Group W Cable headquarters, based right here in Chicago, our hometown, and we're talking about January 24th, the Bunkhouse Stampede Finals, which I'm not in, but Animal is. I'm up against Ric Flair, and I'm gonna beat his beak right off his face. So, all you gotta do to see the bone-crushing action right in your own home is call 794-7380. Group W Cable, the #1 in cable television. Sock it to them.
Okay, right here from this area, what you can see is you got a 6'9" Gary Voss out here, and you see the post-up action with Paddock down here, and there's a pump fake, and there's a pass over the top. Paddock comes up with it. It's a great pass for a big man, and you end up right here with a stuff. That's a great play from Notre Dame.
At DePaul, on the other hand, they have to use their quickness.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Terry Green is doing here. He gets off stride. He makes a tough pass, but they come up with it and get an easy opportunity.
So both front lines have been effective in diametrically different ways, and David Rivers controlling the tempo and Strickland really playing within himself. We've seen both teams really do what they want.
Yeah, they really have, but I think what's important for both coaches is that they're seeing some good play from people other than the two people you just mentioned, both Rivers and Strickland. That's what they got to have. And you see now the Irish will come out, and they're giving a little phony pressure here. I don't really think they want to come out too far.
Frederick drops back into that matchup zone that we've alluded to so many times that Digger Phelps loves to run. Well, I tell you, with Green, Edwards, and that man, you essentially have 3 guards, all of whom can shoot. Edwards now finding Strickland. That's 9 points for him. Roughly half of DePaul's offensive output.
Well, I'm sure that, as we've looked at it, that's pretty much the way it's been all year when he's played, that he's been pretty close to that.
Lead by 1, and now Connor's in trouble.
You see that DePaul has started to extend his defense a little bit. They're man-to-man, and everybody's out trying to deny and make people do things they don't want to do.
Rivers, little two-man game with Vos.
And that play was virtually made by Vos. You throw the ball inside, there's got to be some help down in there. And Vos was very patient, threw it back out to David Rivers, who knocked down the three-pointer.
Guess how many Rivers has? 9. Strickland has 9. Maybe that kind of matchup the rest of the way.
I think what you'll find, you know, as you're saying, they both have 9. Again, it's important that the players other than those two guys have big games.
Green off the back iron, and David Rivers, who gets 4 rebounds per outing. A fine vertical jump brings it home for the Irish.
Now they got the tempo back like they want. They're kind of a control break. If they see they have an opportunity, they'll take off and get one. But right there, they didn't have one.
Again, a great pass to Vos. Intimidated a bit inside by Charles Soule.
I think the problem there was the pass surprised Vos. He was coming across the lane, and I think Rivers thought he would go baseline. He came up the lane, and the pass actually came a little hard to him.
Grundy back into the game now, 23 in blue for DePaul. And Vos sits down, and Scott Paddock re-enters for the Fighting Irish. 22-20, Notre Dame. 9:16 to play in the first half from Notre Dame, Indiana. The first of 5 games on ESPN today and tonight. Andy Laux is also running the point now for DePaul, one of the tri-captains. Strickland.
That was a tough shot to take in there. He took it in traffic, and he got in the air and really was trying to find out what to do.
Frederick throws it away, and Grundy finds Strickland.
Great play. Right there, you saw Rod Strickland do a good job of turning his body to protect the ball from David Rivers. I'm sure David had no intentions of fouling him, but I thought Rod did a good job of protecting the ball.
And Digger can't stand seeing that, a turnover that leads to a layup.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, the turnovers are a big key to them, and I'm sure he's concerned by what happened to him in the last 90 seconds of the last game they played.
As he told us yesterday, it doesn't matter. Turnovers are one thing, but when the turnovers occur in an area where you can't get back on defense, then you're in deep, deep trouble against DePaul.
Absolutely, because then they can take advantage of their athletic ability, and they got a lot of that.
Paddock and Robinson are bodying up down low. Once again, they just can't find the big horses in the middle, and Frederick is rejected by Grundy. There's the speed, and the turnover results in a jam.
Well, that's that athletic ability again, because I didn't think Grundy had a chance to get to the basketball, and before I knew it, he was up, had the block, and got out and got the basketball.
24-22, DePaul with the lead.
And DePaul is in their zone now. They're in the 2-1-2.
There's another steal.
And that's a basket.
Strickland, count it, and the foul against Connor.
That foul by Connor was primarily made because he made a mistake, tried to get back and make up for it, and that happens sometimes. That's a little bit of that anxiety. Well, here you have it going right back, and Strickland takes it to the basket. That is a tremendous move, and I don't know how he kept his balance, but what you could see there was that he kept his eye on the basket, got it, and he's got a three-point play opportunity right here.
You hate to be tough on the kids, but did you notice the change in the backcourt scenario when Frederick and Connor were in the game? It appears that DePaul was able to use their speed and quickness to force the turnovers and grab the lead again.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the things we talked about earlier. You know, we wanted to see Jameer Jackson out there for Notre Dame because he's one of the people that can keep some of that pressure off of David Rivers having to bring the ball up all the time.
Kevin Ellery, a very physical youngster out of Springfield, Kentucky, was the player of the year in the Bluegrass State, comes in. At 6'5", he's got quite a body.
They compare him a little bit to Adrian Dantley.
The DePaul Blue Demons are on quite a run. They have their largest lead of 5 thanks to Hot Rod Strickland.
What do you think of the Ford Festiva?
It's big.
Small.
Nah, it's big. Sort of a big smallness.
Festiva gives you features like a roomy interior, 660 powertrain warranty, sometimes even your own parking space. So it's big and small.
How about Festiva's price?
It's small.
It's nothing. Smallness.
Ford Festiva. Call it big, call it small. Call it yours for only $54.90.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
The scenario with these guys drew with the mergers and acquisitions area of the law, past litigation support or work product retrieval, overseas, 4 or 5 different currencies, very complicated. They wrote it as panic. They're pushing IBM, so we set the firm up with a Wang VS computer and WP+, Wang office and we put up a legal time billing package in the Wang 4GL for some customized code. Totally integrated, totally globalized. They benchmarked us. 2 months later, they polled the jury and we won.
It's winnable then.
Definitely.
Well, what we got right here is the steal we had a little bit earlier. From right, he makes somewhat of a lazy pass, and Rod Strickland makes a great effort to get out there, and then he just gets out and outruns everybody. And right here comes the foul. Again, it's a three-point opportunity. Rod Strickland is showing everybody that he came to play, and as you can see, Joey Myers is real pleased with that effort.
This is a huge game for both clubs, but I think perhaps even more important for Rod Strickland, his psyche the rest of the way, and for Joey Myers. So this team finds itself. DePaul lost on national television to Georgetown last week in a game that many people felt they should have won. And now they have another chance today. They need to make the most of their opportunities come bid time.
Absolutely, and this is one of the best games that they can do that in. DePaul here in Notre Dame.
Strickland now with 14 points and 3 dishes. Rivers has 9 points in the game as those two wage their personal battle this afternoon.
See, DePaul they have to be satisfied by their zone. They've become a little more active in it now. That's what scoring the easy baskets will do. It makes people get a little more energy. Now the clock's down to 8, and Ellery's in trouble.
Jameer Jackson will have to force something up. He does, and gets the hop. Oh, and Bose nearly brought it down. He nearly had the shooter's touch.
Great play.
Terrence Green.
Terrence Green went down. He faked like he was going to pass the ball to the outside and just took it to the basket. Notre Dame's got to get back and stop those opportunities. That's something they can't allow to happen. That's the kind of game DePaul wants to play. If they can get this up to an 80-point game, they got a better chance to win it than, I say, Notre Dame.
And already Phillips makes the move, bringing Rivers out to the point.
Yes, because he realizes he's got to have Rivers with the ball in his hand there.
Ellery rejected partially by Brundy, recovered by Laux. And DePaul in the open court commits the turnover. They'll wave that one off. He took steps. Joey Myers upset, and so is Terrence Green, but the reality is he took steps.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance that he took steps.
It's a big turnaround. Could be a 4-point play because the hoop did go down.
Well, you know, it could have been a 5-point play because if the hoop went down, he makes the free throw, and Notre Dame doesn't come back to score. Not the 5-point swing.
And in a 7-point game, that's important. And there's Robinson off the feed.
From Jameer Jackson, he's doing a good job of keeping his eye on people, finding them, getting the ball where they need to be effective.
You really believe Robinson's the key with this Notre Dame team? He's got a lot of athletic ability down low.
Well, I really do think that he's got to learn the system a little bit better, but he's got all the tools to be a great basketball player, and I think everybody knows that.
Alley-oop inside for Brundy. He went asleep that time and paid the price.
Well, I've watched earlier in the game, and they've been looking to try to get eye contact for that lob. I was just waiting to see how long it took them. It took them all of 15 minutes to get it.
31-24. The Blue Demons by 7 with 5.5 remaining in the first half.
Now you see DePaul is in a man-to-man again. Robinson.
And a foul, a push.
I'll tell you, that looked like a terrible shot for Robinson, but actually he got fouled, and the officials unfortunately didn't see that.
Bose picks up the foul. His second. 14 fouls now against Notre Dame. Pretty foul-free game and well played to this point.
Well, I think it has been pretty well played. A game with these kind of emotions, I think I'm accustomed to seeing a lot more turnovers, but these guys have settled down and they're playing good basketball.
We haven't heard much from Edwards offensively. It's either been Strickland or Green outside or Brundy inside, and there's a steal. Green just lost his dribble. Jackson, yes!
Strong play by Jackson. Jameer Jackson just did that basically on his own. He got fouled and horsed the ball through the basket. Good play.
They're on their feet at the former ACC.
Well, you see Green trying to go into traffic, and once he goes into traffic, any kind of problem can be had. And right here, you see Jameer Jackson comes with the ball. David Rivers coming up, and Jameer just forces the ball up and gets it in the basket. Very strong play. Very strong.
17 fouls now against DePaul, and Jackson at the line trying. Well, that travel call is looming large now. As you said, it could have been a 4-point play. Now Notre Dame comes down with a 4-point play. And it's now a 3-point game.
Yeah, it's a 3-point game, and you hear now that the fans are back into the game. And that's the other thing that I think DePaul has to keep in mind. If this becomes a close game, Notre Dame has a 6th man, and that's these fans here.
Ask UCLA, North Carolina a year ago, Virginia in '81 when they played at Rosemont Horizon.
Oh, absolutely. Kevin Edwards walked that.
Edwards is having a tough first half.
Yeah, he really is having a tough go at it. And I think he hadn't gotten into the flow of the offense the way he wants to, and he's trying to force some things, particularly on that particular occasion.
He's averaging just under 20 points per game. There you see the points off turnovers. It's really keeping DePaul in it. And DePaul of late has had trouble holding on to the ball. They've had turnovers really that they forced themselves that have helped the Irish in getting back.
Well, absolutely.
Pressure picks up from the DePaul defense. 5-second call, and they'll get it.
Oh, they got away with a timeout. That's a good play by Sean Connor. He realized that he had no place to throw the basketball. Well-drilled team. He called the timeout.
Rod Strickland and the DePaul Blue Demons have a 3-point lead with 4 minutes and 3 seconds left. And you're right, Sean Connor with a wise move calling for the timeout. They were at 4-1,000, 5-1,000. Right now, it's 31-28. DePaul with the lead with 4:03 to play, and we'll be right back.
What makes the Formula One World Champion such a great race car? Computer-programmed fuel injection. Dual overhead cams. 4 valves per cylinder. What makes this such a great street car? Exactly the same technology. The Integra. Precision-crafted performance from Acura.
Why is this man still up with his cold, sniffling through tissue after tissue, losing count of his coughs and sneezes? Why is he wrestling with aches and pains, suffering instead of resting? Why? Because he's been waiting for something new. New cherry-flavored NyQuil. The great tasting, nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. In original or new cherry flavor.
Well, what we're going to see here shortly is against this matchup zone, is DePaul has been looking for this, as I said earlier, and you're going to see a great play. There's the ball over the top. Bose can't get up, and right here you see Brundy make a great play over his head. 2 points for DePaul.
And shooting percentages when you're shooting from that range are always going to be pretty good.
Well, absolutely. You see DePaul is shooting 62%, and Notre Dame is shooting 53%. And, you know, it's been a good inside-outside game, I think, for both teams. It's been a very well-played game, as we mentioned earlier.
You're right. I'd say they're in mid-January form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nation's 2 top independents in the minds of most. Trying to score points for the NCAA Tournament Committee.
DePaul is now out into a man-to-man. I really think that's to their advantage with all the quickness that they have overall.
Rivers, he really forced that one up. Bose with the loose ball, took steps.
Well, that was a result of the pressure that DePaul can put on you. I agree with you. I think Rivers took a difficult shot, but he realized his teammates weren't going to get it up. Bose did the right thing. He horsed the ball down, tried to get it back up. Unfortunately, got called for travel.
And critics of David Rivers would tell you that's his problem. Sometimes he just forces it too much.
Well, I think he feels the burden of making sure the team moves offensively, and he does things like that.
Edwards, soft off the front iron. And the long rebound taken by Rivers. Jackson is left free, and he drills it.
Well, I tell you what, he's playing with a lot of confidence here. That was a very good move to the baseline.
Out of Manual High School in Peoria, Illinois, Jameer Jackson closing the Irish to within 1.
Over the top
Brundy,
again.
you bet. Count it, and the foul.
On Jameer Jackson. They might have called it before the basket. Well, you see right here, Brundy is there again. Jameer gets there late, and he does bump him, and Brundy goes back up with the ball. So I'm sure it's before that, before the basket that the foul was called. But again, I think DePaul is probably going to do a lot more of going over the top with the basketball, realizing that there's no way that Bose and those other big guys can get up like the athletes of the Blue Demons.
And breathe a sigh of relief because Robinson would have committed the foul had not Jackson. It would have been after the basket.
And basically what you had right there was an unforced turnover. I mean, and that will just drive Coach up the wall. I mean, there was no reason for, him to be trying to go with the ball anywhere, and he got a turnover.
And what turnovers DePaul has committed are ones that are unforced errors to this point.
Yes, absolutely. It has nothing to do with anybody else's pressure, just for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a mental lapse or what.
There you see it's beginning to even out between the two, 7 and 6. As close as the score. Rivers negotiates, and he's fouled.
And David got the benefit of a hooking play there. He spun around Kevin Edwards out front. He hooked him and got away with that one.
Stanley Brundy with the foul. And again, frontline difficulty with fouls. Remember, Kevin Golden only played 3 minutes. He got 3 quick fouls. Now Brundy for DePaul committing that foul, sending Rivers to the line, and he has 2.
I think if you're DePaul, you got to consider that a good foul.
Yeah.
If you get David Rivers to miss a foul shot, you got to take that.
84% from the line. He doesn't miss often.
Right.
And we're tied at 31. The Irish have outscored the Blue Demons 9-2 in the last 3 minutes. It was 29-22 not long ago. Rod Strickland runs the baseline. It won't fall.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. He made a great play. He just didn't get it down, and that may come from not playing. As we both know, he didn't play much. He didn't play at all against Dayton. Hadn't practiced much.
Sean Connor, when he spots up, it's trouble. Bose may have committed another foul over the back.
You're right. I'm sure that's what it was.
They got him. Gary Bose now has 3, and that will force the hand of Digger Phelps, and he is all over the men in the black and white shirts.
Right here, the ball is in there, and I don't think there's any question that Bose is all over the back. But Digger, being Digger, is going to make somebody aware that he doesn't agree with the call.
Just over 2 minutes left in the opening half. Bob Lee will be along at halftime to bring you up to date on the late occurrences last night in college basketball, and he'll set the table for the rest of this afternoon here on ESPN. Strickland, it won't go, and Paddock clears it. Paddock.
Play.
Oh, a swooping left hand.
That's a good play. I was watching him to see if he was going to make up his mind to take the ball to the basket. You got a man on your back, go ahead and take it, because it's pretty hard for him to defend against you in that position.
6 points for Paddock. Green to Brundy.
Well, we talked about that earlier. That's taking advantage of your athletic ability. Green takes the ball to the basket. Somebody from the Irish helped out, and there's an easy assist for him.
33-33. It's been close throughout. The largest lead for the Blue Demons, 7. Fighting Irish have led by as many as 5. There's the creator.
That's an offensive foul.
A little confusion now between the officials. They're going to call it against Rivers.
Yeah, David Rivers that time may have gotten out of control. Well, here we go from this angle, and as you can see, he's there. He was in position. David was trying to create something, and I really don't think there was an opportunity for him to do it.
Steve Welmer and Sam Licklider looked at one another, the 2 Mid-American Conference officials, and the fans are booing, but coaches have to like that when you go back and look at it on film. They like to see the officials talk about it. The one that has the best angle make the call.
Absolutely, because they sometimes get out of position, but I thought that was a good call.
Brundy keeping it alive, trying to use the glass, and Connor rebounds. Shot clock is off, 30 seconds remaining, and Notre Dame can play for the last 2.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Notre Dame will play for 1 shot. As you can see, DePaul is in a man-to-man defense. And that's a 5-second call. And I think David Rivers became a bit too conservative there and just lost a little bit of concentration. And those are the kind of things that will drive a coach crazy. I think Digger's going to be pretty upset about that. He's talking to the officials, but I think he's got to know that was David's fault. So now DePaul gets an opportunity to play for the last shot.
And when you consider the problems with Rod Strickland coming in, you got to believe Joey Meyer loves being in this position at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. His star having a big first half and ending the first half with an opportunity to take the lead. Although he does get a foul here with 1 second remaining.
Well, right there, Rod Strickland was trying to create a shot. He ended up taking a tough one, and Terrence Green got called for the foul, trying to come across the back.
Now, just as we're diagramming a good first half for Coach Meyer, things go astray.
Yeah, but I don't think that he can really be that disappointed with that kind of foul. I mean, you don't like to see it, necessarily, but I think all in all, the team has played pretty well. And if the team has played pretty well overall, I think you can just talk to Terry Green and tell him that was just an ill-advised foul.
Yeah. Joey Meyer, block out, fellas.
Well, I'm sure that'll be very much a part of his halftime speech also.
And so Robinson gets to go to the line. He now has 3 points since coming in. A major contributor along the front line, and perhaps could be the guy that makes the Fighting Irish a Sweet 16 kind of team.
Great tip.
The tip.
Great tip. Jameer Jackson is just having a tremendous game.
So Digger Phelps, who was unhappy about the 5-second call, gets all the breaks. The luck of the Irish go his way. Joey Meyer shakes his head as he heads to the locker room.
Well, you see right here, there's a free throw by Robertson. Jameer Jackson slides through there and just get a hand on the ball and just makes a tremendous tip. This kid has got a great feel, and that had a lot to do with how he got that ball up there. He's moved some people out of the way. He knows the official probably won't call it. Got his hand up on the basketball, got it in the basket. I think that was a tremendous play.
Well, you once wore a shamrock. You know what the green can mean at times. Right now, the Irish with a 3-point lead, 36-33. Let's get back to our studio and the always lucky Bob Lee.
That's right. We've got 5 games today, Tim and Quinn, and this is game 1. Notre Dame and DePaul. First time they met this year. We told you about that at the top of the game. It went to overtime at the Rosemont Horizon. And on that tip, on the missed free throw, 36-33, the Irish on top. This, by far, is the first game on the national schedule today. The first game on the national schedule, well, let's tell you about the last game on Friday's schedule. The big game here on ESPN. BYU going into Laramie, Wyoming, where they had that little note over the door. Welcome to Laramie, altitude 7,100 feet. Against number 12, Wyoming, Michael Smith to Jeff Chapman. BYU takes the lead. Chapman had 18 points, first 14 in the first half. Nathan Call here to Michael Smith, 3-pointer. And at this point, Wyoming head coach Benny D says, come on, guys, hang in there. Things didn't get much better. Benestembo, much publicized, missing the slam there. And at this point, Benny has taken the tie off, and don't read those lips. The Cougars are blowing him out at halftime. More of the same of the second half. Call to Marty Hawes, who gets the roll. BYU, it turns out to be a blowout in Wyoming, which began the WAC season with road losses at El Paso and New Mexico, came home and blew out Air Force. Wyoming, with a loss last night, will maybe drop out of the top 20 when the new poll comes out on Monday. 1-3 in conference. BYU 12-0, and along with Temple, the Cougars are the only undefeated Division I college basketball teams. Look for the BYU Cougars to be moving into the top 20. That game live last night on ESPN. We have got 4 more live games today. We're at halftime of game number 1 in South Bend at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. The Irish by a tray at the half.
Is your home a Nickelodeon home?
Nick.
Dad's eating dinner, the dog got his bone. I get it, that's the bone. Mom's at the table, dishing the food. Everybody's in a very good mood singing Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon. But says, sis, what's the channel for kids? I don't know. Come on, tell me what it is. Nick. Nickelodeon.
Be like us, watch Nickelodeon on cable TV.
Well, on the tri-corner of Lincoln, Diversey, and Racine, Chicago's only 100% consignment shop. With 9,000 square feet of browsing space. Stepping through our doors is like rummaging through your grandparents' attic, as we carry a timeless variety of quality, handcrafted furniture at far below competitive prices. The time well, 549-2113. 2780 North Lincoln Avenue.
Faith in certain performance automobiles shaken by the amount of time they seem to spend in the air. Then consider the Acura Legend Coupe. It combines high performance with precision craftsmanship, so it spends its time on the ground. But that doesn't mean it can't fly. The Legend Coupe. Precision crafted performance from Acura.
I went to my dentist with the worst pain. The nerve was exposed. He told me about a different medicine. It's in these little yellow pills. Nuprin works so well on that pain. No wonder it's great on my awful headaches.
Nuprin. It's not aspirin, not Tylenol. It's ibuprofen. So effective, 2 Nuprin stop headaches better than extra-strength Tylenol.
And Nuprin's gentler on my stomach than aspirin.
Nuprin. Little, yellow, different, better.
It even worked on my worst pain.
ESPN's NCAA basketball, DePaul and Notre Dame. Brought to you by Acura Legend and Integra. Precision crafted performance exclusively at your Acura dealer. By True Value Hardware. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And by the financial professionals at Payne Weber. DePaul has won 8 of the last 11 meetings with Notre Dame, but at halftime in South Bend, the second time they have met this year at the half, a 36-33 Notre Dame lead. Welcome back. I'm Bob Lee. Game 1 of our quintuple header. 5 live games today. After we finish, we'll take a short break, step aside, and come back at 4 Eastern Time. North Carolina State and Georgia Tech. This one not from the Omni, but from Alexander Coliseum. Then tonight at 7 Eastern Time, more action from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Maryland and Duke. Duke's won the last 6 meetings in this rivalry. At 7 Eastern Time, we'll take a look at the number 7 team in the country at the Cozy Cameron. At 9 Eastern Time, North Carolina, number 2 in the country, takes on Virginia. And we close it out from the Ohio Valley Conference. We spend a Saturday night in Murray, Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky and Murray State. That gets underway right after Sports Center at 11:30 Eastern Time. Now, I mentioned North Carolina. Certainly, the Tar Heels got a number of number 1 votes the last time around in the poll. Arizona is number 1. North Carolina is number 2. Always consistency. That's the one hallmark of Dean Smith's program, and so it is again this year. Last year was marvelous for the Tar Heels. 34 wins and only 2 losses. An undefeated ACC regular season. And you know how tough that is. Those 2 losses came when they least needed them. One to North Carolina State in the ACC tournament final, and the other in the Eastern Regional final against Syracuse. So now exit Kenny Smith, Joe Wolf, and Dave Popson. This year, North Carolina has only 1 senior, Ranzino Smith. And they knew coming in that the Tar Heels had tough work to get done.
Well, we knew we had a young team this year coming into the game. We needed to execute for 40 minutes throughout a game. And that's the biggest struggle we're having so far in the season, is getting that consistency for 40 minutes and executing our offense and our defense.
We just want to build our chemistry up as we headed last year. Last year we had a very good team, I believe, and guys that played well together. And we lost a lot of those guys last year. So now we had to come in with a new bunch of guys and try to start things over.
This year has been a rocket ride so far, 12-1 for Carolina. Only Vanderbilt back in December has been able to catch the Tar Heels.
Well, we're happy with our record right now. We've only lost 1 game, and we're trying to improve on every game. I just think concentration is a problem for us right now. We play good defense at times, and other times we relax a little too much. I think to be a good team, you have to be consistent.
The Heels have struggled at times this year. It did take overtime to edge by Fordham. And now that we're into the gut of the ACC schedule, there are no easy marks.
This year, we're not really able to predict who's going to be in the top of the ACC this year. Maryland, Wake Forest, and Virginia all going to be tough this year. And especially Maryland, I think they're going to be really tough.
It's hard to tell right now. There's just so many good teams out there this season, or any team can be any other team at any given time. So you have to be prepared to play every game, every night. And I think we'll be doing that with Coach Smith. Coaching us, telling us things we need to work on.
But there is incentive for the NCAA tournament. North Carolina will surely make the field, and if they play well enough, they'll stay in the East region. And the East Regional Finals this year at the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill. That's the site of tonight's game against Virginia. That's at 9 Eastern Time, the 4th of our 5 live games. And by the way, if you're into statistics tonight, Dean Smith coaching his 800th game with the Tar Heels. Tar Heels coming in 12-1 overall, 1-0 in the ACC. Got a 3-point game in South Bend. Back to Tim and Quinn right after this.
What makes the Formula One World Champion such a great race car? computer-programmed fuel injection. Dual overhead cams. 4 valves per cylinder. What makes this such a great street car? Exactly the same technology. The Integra. Precision-crafted performance from Acura.
In communities across America, there's a working spirit. People working together with a feeling of pride. Where that feeling exists, there's Dickies Work Clothes. America, it still works. Dickies, the brand it works in. Dickies, made with Celanese Fortrel polyester.
It's a big game, big boy. But you got the stuff, cause you got off the ground this morning with a real winner. Wheaties, Wheaties, your whole wheat. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
Konica Tough. Konica's Royal Copiers are tough. Reliability and dependability have earned them a tough reputation. Konica's Royal Copiers, the right choice for tough jobs.
All right, listen and listen tight, because I aim to do what I came here to do, and that is rent a car without having to throw in my horse and saddle to do it. That's why I came to Thrifty Car Rental. Well, they don't cost as much as them other yahoos.
Thrifty, the official car rental company for the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl. Rent any car through January 31st and receive a discount coupon to SeaWorld.
You always get the best deal at Thrifty. Right, Pilgrim?
Small town girl makes good. Martha Richards is one of America's best girls high school basketball players and the state golf champ. I'm Chris Fowler. Check out this week's ESPN Scholastic Sports America Wednesday.
36-33 game at halftime. Notre Dame on top at DePaul, the first of our 5 live games. Now let's get it back to the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center in that 3-point game. Tim Brando and Quinn Buckner as they start things off, a starting backcourt, if you will, for our first of 5 live games. Timmy?
All right, Bob, thank you. Well, I know he deserves to be in a starting backcourt. I don't know about this guy here, but let's talk a little bit about the way this game has been going. We talked at the very top about the quickness and speed of DePaul and how they would match up both inside and outside against Notre Dame, and I think we saw early in this game just what the quickness would mean to the Blue Demons.
Well, I think we did. I think they got out and got some steals. They came out and blocked some shots and got them some easy baskets. And I think when you do that, as we'll see right here, we'll come up and then there's a shot that's coming up. Fredericks takes a shot. He goes up. Bundy not only blocks the shots, he gets out and he gets an easy basket. Strickland makes a good pass up front and they get the easy score. And those are the kind of things that their great athletic ability will get for you.
Rod Strickland has had a fantastic first half, considering all of the problems that have beset him this past week. We've got an example of what he does mean to DePaul, but he really isn't himself just yet. He can be even better, can he?
Well, I think he can be better. I think he came out, he played hard. It's something that everybody's got to be pleased by. Right here, you'll see him go to the baseline. He gets around this man. He goes up with the ball and really makes a great effort, but I'm not so sure he's not rusty again. He hadn't been in the starting lineup in practice in 10 days, and he didn't play on the last game.
There he is. Rod Strickland has certainly seized control of the moment, both offensively and defensively. In the final analysis, both teams are really doing what they have to do to win this game, aren't they?
I have to agree with you. I think both coaches have to be really pleased. We talked about handling some pressure. I thought Jameer Jackson did a great job on that end. I think there were some offensive rebound opportunities, some good time for quickness for DePaul. They got out and did what they had to do. I would be real pleased if I was either one of the coaches, despite the score.
All right. As for this backcourt, well, we'll be back with the second half in just a moment. I'm not spotting up for three-pointers either, Bob Lee. We'll be back with the start of the second half in a moment.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Now you can save up to $1,450 on America's best-selling cars, Chevrolets. Get $750 cash back when you buy a new Chevrolet Celebrity and save up to an additional $700 on option packages. That adds up to $1,450 in savings. Or save up to $1,075 on a new Chevy Cavalier. Great savings from America's best-selling cars.
The heartbeat of America. That's today, Chevrolet.
the famous Budweiser beer. We know of no brand produced by any other brewer which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you will find in no other beer at any price. Budweiser. Since 1876, your beer.
I'm State Farm Agent Wallace Lewis. I'd like to tell you about the Lanyards, a young family who came to State Farm for a life insurance plan. Mike and Madeline had a budget, and they didn't want to hear a lot of life insurance sales talk. So instead of a lot of talking, I did a lot of listening. And we came up with a life insurance plan that fits their needs and their budget too.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
ESPN's NCAA basketball, DePaul and Notre Dame. Brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By Nike, makers of Nike Air, a revolution in motion. And by the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be.
Some of the 11,418, even quasi-Mr. T's have made their way here to South Bend for this battle for the Vatican title. DePaul and Notre Dame. Statistically, both teams, as we mentioned, when doing what they have to do, shooting an outstanding pace from the floor.
They really are. I think that's a lot has to do with because the ball has been able to get inside for Notre Dame. DePaul is running up down the court.
They're even shooting well from long distance, as you can tell. Notre Dame and DePaul each hitting 4 from three-point range. DePaul perfect at the line. Really a foul-free game. Notre Dame is 6 of 9. Rebounding even. And we said at the top, one of the keys, DePaul would have to block out, make certain that Notre Dame didn't get putback opportunities. And the turnovers began to even out as the first half continued. I felt, and I think you agreed, that DePaul really forced their own turnovers without much help from Notre Dame.
Well, you know, DePaul, in my opinion, has forced turnovers on both sides. They forced their own, unfortunately, and they forced the one by Notre Dame. And I think, again, they got to get their heads into the game and understand if they can cause turnovers and not turn the ball over, they got a good shot at it.
In the paint, the Blue Demons have outscored Notre Dame, but both clubs shooting well from the outside, but yet trying to get the ball inside.
Well, the percentages are just with you in there, and I think it's important that both teams establish that inside game instead of relying on the three-pointer, even though they both shot well from that.
By the way, Rod Strickland, who we mentioned is having a fine first half with 14 points, took his shoe off his right foot during halftime. They did not administer ice. He did mention, though, that at times when he didn't play during timeouts, his foot would go to sleep. Well, very quickly they started giving him foot-to-foot resuscitation. They want to keep that one alive in the second half.
Well, keeping that foot alive keeps DePaul's hope alive. So I'm sure they will try to do that.
Terrence Green looking inside. Edwards was quiet in the first half, but he wakes up.
Well, I look for him to come out and try to have a big second half because, as you said, he was a little late getting off in the first half, and he wants to have an impact on this game.
The Irish are dominant when they're leading at halftime, and they did get a break to close out the first half with a foul by the Blue Demons and a tip-in by Jameer Jackson. Right now, it's a one-point game. Paddock got his man airborne, but traveled in so doing.
Well, I thought it was a good pass inside. I'm not an official, and Digger kind of agrees with me. He didn't think it was a travel. Well, you have it from this angle. You see there's a good pass inside. He has position. He goes right to the basket. I think the officials might have missed that call.
They've really been quick with the whistle on that hop skip, the picking up of the left foot this year.
But if you're going to the basket, that's not a call. That's not a legitimate call. That's the way you go to the basket.
Golden. Grundy keeping it alive.
And Grundy was well over the rim to get that one in the basket. That's that offensive rebound opportunity we talked about.
So DePaul, with the putback, takes the lead back by one. Jackson in the lane.
I think right there what you saw was Jameer Jackson take advantage of the bad foot with Rod Strickland. I mean, he faked him one way and then made Rod try to change direction. And this is difficult to do with a sprained ankle.
Irish sagging back, as they have so often in this game. Boy, finding the seam in a hurry was Terrence Green. Robinson, who starts the second half with a rebound. Sean Connor is open down low. Rejected by Brundy. Paddock loses it to Rod Strickland. Now it's a numbers game and a foul against Rivers, a block.
That was a great offensive move right there by Rod Strickland. He made David Rivers turn around and then turn it back again and caused that foul.
The second foul against David Rivers.
This is a good example of the great ability that this young man has. He turns David Rivers around. David has to grab him to try to get the basketball. Good play by Rod Strickland.
Golden is left open. Just off the back iron, and Jameer Jackson with a rebound. And they're giving Kevin Golden that shot.
Yeah, I think I would give Kevin Golden that shot also. Kevin needs to get down on the block and play. I would not advise him to do that shot, take that shot again.
Rivers drives against Grundy. No call, and that has Digger up. Rivers follows.
Well, if Digger got up, he shouldn't have, because right there, David Rivers got away with the travel.
40-37, Notre Dame back up by 3. They led by that many at intermission. And the capacity crowd on its feet. He's still got 17 and a half to play. Edwards.
There you go. You see Kevin Edwards is trying to get into the rhythm again. That was a good penetration play right there. Kicked it out to him. He was standing wide open for the three-pointer and knocked it down.
9 points now for Edwards. So quickly he's contributed 5 second half points to DePaul, and we're tied at 40.
You see DePaul is out in there man-to-man. I don't see him as aggressive as I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him out all over people, but they may be protecting people from fouls.
I remember Grundy with 3, Golden with 3. They're big people down low, and there's a foul out away from the hoop against Rod Strickland. And that's his second.
It's an ill-advised foul. I mean, you're not going to get the ball 9 times out of the 10, and the official's going to call that as a foul. You might as well stay out there, stay in good position, play your man with your feet and not with your hands.
Digger Phelps, whose daughter, Karen, will soon marry Jamie Moyer of the Chicago Cubs. Making all of the headlines in the magazines in this area.
Good pass.
David Rivers. 42-40. Notre Dame by a deuce.
Sean Connor made a great pass there. David Rivers just came down the middle and got an opportunity. Those things DePaul can't afford to give up.
Golden trying to work the screen. Strickland negotiates in a foul. Jameer Jackson and Keith Robinson in the general area.
I would say it's probably on Robinson.
Robinson does pick up the foul, and you see Andy Laux coming into the game. The senior from Elmhurst, Illinois, who played at Immaculate Conception High School, and sitting down Rod Strickland with Coach Meyer.
Andy Laux is a good, solid player. He hadn't had many turnovers. As a matter of fact, he played great. Excuse me.
Beautiful move inside. That was a thriller for Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, Andy Laux, 300 minutes to turn the ball over only once, and that's a tremendous concentration.
He actually played 270 minutes before he committed his first turnover, which is amazing.
You see that basket, it's kind of got DePaul a little more aggressive in their defensive pattern. They're outplaying. It's a good hand right there by Kevin Edwards.
David Rivers will have to earn his reputation today against the DePaul backcourt. There's a reason he has such a reputation. Terrence Green is lobbying, but it won't help. 16 points for David Rivers.
The reason that Terrence Green is lobbying is that he was coming back off a pick. Gardner's man, he actually didn't even see David Rivers coming, and he might have gotten pushed into him, and that's why he was lobbying, because he didn't think the foul should have been called on any of his efforts.
He's still talking.
Yeah, the official doesn't agree, and justifiably so. Rivers got fouled in active shooting. He should get the foul.
On pace with his season average, Rivers. The story of his courage has been told many, many times. The accident he had with Ken Barlow. He has really helped the Irish over the years. Now they lead by 3.
When you want to go from freewheeling to 4x4 fun, Chevy S10 lets you do what Ford and Toyota can't. Shift and keep right on going with standard InstaTrack. Plus, get $500 cash back on every new Chevy S10 pickup.
Chevy S10 today, Chevy truck.
You're gonna get a lesson about intimidation.
Microchip circuitry to laser technology. The world's largest school for high-tech skills is the Army.
Be all that you can be. Get an edge on life in the Army.
Hey, where did you learn about computers?
In the Army.
You were in the Army, too?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, and you can earn over $25,000 for college.
What you do in the Army?
Airborne.
You used to jump out of airplanes?
Well, what we're going to come up and see right here is just this tremendous dunk we saw earlier. This is a 6'3" player going in here, and I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this young man can really jump. He got there and just threw the ball down with some force. And from this angle, the truth of the matter is there's no way that Notre Dame can let somebody come down the center for opportunities like that. Those are the easy buckets that DePaul wants to get.
Kevin Edwards is a player that was lightly recruited out of junior college and really has surprised a lot of people. He is another one of those major stories that you find in college basketball.
Well, he's a self-made player. He's only played maybe 5 or 6 years of basketball. He played when he was a senior in high school and junior college, and he's played here.
Coaches say he's raw and he's good.
Very good. He's a hard worker, too.
Yeah, he is. 45-42, Notre Dame by 3. David Rivers worked his magic after that dunk to give the Irish their 3-point lead. Green fouled. He gets the roll.
Now, that was a good play right there by Terrence Green, but what I see as the real fault is I see Notre Dame in man-to-man, and they're going to get killed if they play man-to-man against the athletes that DePaul has, and that's exactly what happened right there.
Coming up after our game, well, this is just the first of 5 games, and at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll begin a deluge of action from the ACC. North Carolina State will take on Georgia Tech at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Mike Patrick and Dan Bonner there, and Maryland and Duke. Then later, Virginia against number 2 North Carolina, and Eastern Kentucky against Murray State. As the Ohio Valley Conference comes your way live at 11:30 Eastern Time. Green converts the 3-point play, and we're tied at 45, and he sits down with Joey Meyer. That's a happy coach right now.
Oh, absolutely. And as you can see, DePaul decided to extend his defense out a little bit, but they're going to fall back probably into that man-to-man. And I'm sure Digger Phelps was trying to just give DePaul a different look when they got into man-to-man early.
Laux is back in the game. Connor losing it, but fouled in the process by Edwards. Mark Stevenson is coming in for Notre Dame now. This is something that we should mention about Stevenson. He was injured in the Yale game, going up for the backboard for a rebound. Stevenson 24 in gold. You see Gary Vost there. But Stevenson was injured, actually cut his eye, a major gash. And everyone was concerned about his head, but as it turned out, it was his foot that he had sprained, and he was unable to start today after not practicing yesterday. And that was a major loss to the Irish, particularly when you start talking about quickness in the backcourt.
Well, he did that going to the basket, and somebody undercut him and hit his toe and cut his eye, and they were, as you said, more concerned about the eye than the toe. I would imagine once he's into the floor of the game, he may not even, his toe may not bother him.
A junior from Philadelphia can be an offensive force. Rivers, all the force Digger needs, drilling another 3-pointer. It's 48-45, Notre Dame.
That was an example of David Rivers just trying to take over a little bit. I think he's seen his team do enough, go down the court enough times and not score that he wanted to try to get an opportunity and get a little life in it. And as you can see, the fans and the band are into the game.
Edwards is open. Just inside the 3-point line, it's 48-47. And Edwards has certainly picked up the pace in the second half. He now has 13 points.
And he's capable of having big games, so I'm sure Digger's got that in mind. And they're going to have to go out and even if they're in the zone, somebody's got to be conscientious of where he is on the basketball court.
Interesting to see how Laux handles Stevenson, who is injured. You see Mark wants the ball down there.
The reason that they had a tough time getting it in, though, is Grundy was not about to let that ball get in there because he knows, just as you stated, that there's a mismatch down there.
David Rivers putting on a show in the second half.
Great
There's
pass.
Stevenson wide open. Remember, he did not practice yesterday. Was only out there briefly during the pregame warm-up. Strickland over Bose. That's the first deuce for Strickland in the second half. Rivers had scored 10, so he's been outscored by 8 by the fellow All-American and today's counterpart.
Well, that's his first shot of the half, but I think, again, Joey Myers got to be pleased because that means somebody else is picking up the slack, and as we've all seen here today, it's been Kevin Edwards.
There's a steal forced by Strickland, saved by Grundy. Oh, now Strickland's out of bounds on the inline, and he'll lobby. But it won't help.
Well, Stanley Grundy was going out of bounds, and he tried to find somebody to give the ball to, and it happened to be Strickland, but unfortunately, he was standing on the out-of-bounds line also.
Rod's a eloquent youngster, but he will not win this first affirmative.
Well, as you can see right there, I think that there's a little lobbying going on, but it didn't work. Better luck next time, Rod.
Should mention both DePaul and Notre Dame have outstanding debate teams as well.
Well, are we getting some people lobbying for a position on those teams or what? You see, DePaul now is in a zone.
Rivers counted for 3. 13 points, a baker's dozen for the All-American in the first 8 minutes of the second half.
Well, DePaul went into the 2-3, but they got it. Rivers is a guy who can play. I don't care what kind of defense you play against him, so they got to find him. In that particular instance, they didn't, and he knocked down the three-pointer.
Strickland counters for 3. 52-51 DePaul.
I think we got a little duel going on here. Paul's back into their man-to-man now. They play out of bounds. They go into a zone. And then they rather play man-to-man to take advantage of their abilities, such as that block shot.
Well, we saw Grundy start a break with just that same kind of play in the first half. And you could tell he intimidated Jerry Bose there and still managed to force a turnover.
Well, that's the athletic ability. Right away, I think that they were scared about the shot getting blocked. It did get blocked, and then he just threw the ball out of bounds.
We'll be back to the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center, which is rocking right after this.
Hey, Chicago! This is Hawk, one half of the Tag Team Road Warriors, and I'm down at Group W Cable headquarters, based right here in Chicago, our hometown. And we're talking about January 24th, the Bunkhouse Stampede Finals, which I'm not in, but Animal is. I'm up against Ric Flair, and I'm going to beat his beak right off his face. So, all you gotta do to see the bone-crushing action right in your own home is call 794-7380. Group W Cable, the #1 in cable television. Sock it to them.
Welcome back. Tim Brando along with Quinn Buckner and DePaul leading Notre Dame 52-51. Now, make no doubt about it. These are two coaches that preach the team concept. But every team has to have a leader, and both leaders are getting it done for both coaches today here at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. Strickland for DePaul, who has been beset with controversy this entire week, and David Rivers, who always must assert himself as the leader for the Fighting Irish. There you see them both. Strickland right now with 19 points. You see there his assists. Rivers has 22. Interestingly, the three-pointers. Strickland 4 for 6, and Rivers is perfect at 5 for 5.
Well, I think what you see there is just an example of the leaders leading the team. This is what both teams need. Strickland has come out and performed, as we talked about earlier, and David Rivers has played well all year.
Holland looking and finding Edwards, and Edwards has certainly helped out. The backcourt scorer has 15 a three-guard offense when Strickland is healthy, and you've got both Edwards and Green, can create matchup problems for a lot of teams.
Absolutely, because Edwards is actually a guard who's playing in the forward position. But he's such a good athlete, he can get away with it. Good position, good pass.
Oh, 54-53. He really came of age as a starter a year ago in the North Carolina game. He really gave J.R. Reed trouble. It was well documented.
Well, I'm sure that had to help his confidence, but I think being a leader also helps his confidence. Being a captain, I'm sorry, it's got to help your confidence.
Stevenson saves it, but right to Brundy.
That is a classic mistake. You don't ever save the ball on your opponent, under your opponent's basket, and throw it that way. You throw it to the other end of the basketball court. That time, Stevenson threw it under DePaul's basket, and they ended up with 2 points.
56-53. 10 minutes are gone here in the second half.
And as you see now, DePaul is now in the zone. They've gone away from their man-to-man.
And Stevenson staying in the game for the Fighting Irish. One of the reasons why is his ability to drive.
And from out there to have a guy that big drive to the basket, 6'6", he's big and he's strong, to drive to the basket, you're either going to get a foul opportunity or you're going to get the ball in the basket. That time he got fouled.
Holland with his second foul. And Stevenson, you know they're breathing a sigh of relief to see Mark Stevenson drive with authority that way after the injury he had against Yale the other night.
Well, yes, and I think part of that has to do with the emotion of these two teams playing. You know, you get in these games, nothing seems to hurt. As you notice, Rod Strickland is playing as though there's no injury there, and Stevenson did the same thing there.
Stevenson, the only double-digit scorer returning to Digger Phelps, with the exception of David Rivers this year, so he knew he had to have quality play from him to be a top-caliber team that could be tournament-ready in March. 56-55, DePaul by 1. Holland and Brundy are the front line for DePaul. Paddock and Vos are set in deep for Notre Dame. Edwards penetrates.
Boy, that is a great move. He is a great athlete. Notre Dame has just got to find out where he is on the basketball court and keep him from getting basketball. He's causing them too many problems.
We haven't seen too many bad shots in this game. 58-55, both clubs working for and getting quality shots.
No, they really are being a lot more patient than I thought they would be in this game.
Nice pass. First to Jackson and then to Paddock, and it forced a foul from Terrence Green.
But the reason that one of the reasons that there was a foul, as I think we'll see, is if you get the ball from this angle, you'll see they get the ball in the middle of the zone. If you get it in the teeth of the zone, you can make a lot of things happen. And right there, that's exactly what did happen. Jackson got it in there, got fouled by Terrence Green.
Watch the screen, watch the screen! All right, action the screen, here we go!
Coach is always cognizant of those out-of-bounds plays, right?
Oh,
you heard them. Watch the screen. They better watch Jackson. Jameer Jackson ties it at 58.
One of the concerns that Digger has had about Jameer is he's always thought that this kid could play this well, and he wanted him to explode. I think he'd have to be pleased with the explosion this afternoon.
8 minutes and 45 seconds left. Digger Phelps wanted a game down in the 60s, but both teams are shooting lights out. It may get up in the 70s before it's done. Strickland.
Boy, he got some great moves. He did a great head fake to get everybody standing up like he's going to shoot a jump shot. 2 dribbles into the paint and shot a shot over 2 or 3 of Notre Dame's victory. They can't let him get in there. He just can cause too many problems. And as you can see, DePaul is extending their defense a little bit.
Boy, the crossover pass to Rivers always leaves someone open. They have to respect him. Bones follows. He's fouled prior to the shot, I think, against Brundy.
But he got fouled after the ball got by Brundy, and I think that's one of the reasons that Brundy fouled him, because he knew that he should have come up with the rebound.
That's 3 now against Brundy. And the 6th team foul against Joey Myers' Blue Demons. DePaul has only gone to the line 2 times in this game. Notre Dame 14. So the end of every game, the coach that had to get on the bus will always look to that on the stat sheet.
Absolutely. Notre Dame is getting some good play from Vos today. I mean, he's their leader. He's got some good opportunities for him inside, making free throws. I think they got to be pleased with it.
He's another self-made player. You know, out of Queens, New York, but spent most of his life in Jamaica, where soccer and cricket were his first loves. Well, he's been more of an insect for the opposition in DePaul today. 60-60 from the ACC.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Now you can save up to $1,800 on America's best-selling cars, Chevrolets. Get $600 cash back when you buy a new Chevrolet Corsica and save up to an additional $1,200 on option packages. That adds up to $1,800 in savings. Or save up to $1,700 on a new Chevy Beretta. Great savings from America's best-selling cars.
The heartbeat of America. That's the day Chevrolet.
Round of lights here?
Ask for Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
The Great American Face. Strong, sensitive. The Great American Razor, Atra Plus, solid, with the Lubra Smooth Strip for extra protection. The Great American Face deserves the Great American Shave. Atra Plus, only from Gillette.
What we're going to see here is Kevin Edwards, who's having a great second half, go up, and you see Bosa has 3 fouls and can't foul him, but that is still a great athletic play. Kevin Edwards has really gotten away from Notre Dame in the second half. And Strickland right here does a pump fake, straightens Stevenson up, goes around him, and this is a difficult shot to make because he's got to go stop, go straight up, and he makes a soft jump shot in the paint. Great play, and everything taken into consideration. This kid has got a bad ankle and still able to make that shot. That's to his credit.
Everyone will remember the play he made last year in the NCAAs when he tipped in the missed free throw against St. John's that sent the Blue Demons into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, well, he's a winner, and he's going to come out and try to do whatever he wants, whatever he can to help the team, and I think he did a good job of showing that in that particular game.
He tipped it in with the left hand, too, and he can go with either hand as he drives into the lane. Stevenson's matched up against him, and he picked up the foul.
Stevenson's got a bad toe, and I know I said that he can play with it, but if he's trying, you can't guard Rod Strickland with it. That's different, because you're talking about, 6'3" playing, 6'6" trying to guard 6'3", and Rod Strickland is just too clever with the basketball. But the thing that I have to be concerned about if I'm Joey is as the game goes on, Rod Strickland's foot is ankle's got to start hurting, because when you get tired, you just don't have the strength to keep yourself going.
Kevin Holland out of the game, and Golden in. You saw him, number 55 in blue, trying to get to the ball, and DePaul will inbound now in their front court rather than underneath their own hoop. And Golden will inbound. .7:41 remaining. DePaul led by as many as 7 in the first half. Notre Dame by as many as 5, but we have just been back and forth ever since. Terrence Green with an errant shot recovered by Jackson, and David Rivers will run it for Notre Dame. They have a chance to take the lead here. They led by 3 at halftime. As we get closer to crunch time, you get the feeling, Quinn, that one or the other, either Rivers or Strickland, are ready to take over.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Great defensive play right there by Rod Strickland. Jameer Jackson's been playing a good catch.
I'd say he took over there defensively, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. He had got his hand on the basketball, made the pass. But I tell you, this Kevin Edwards really impressed me today.
He's had a great second half. 19 points for Kevin Edwards, and he only had 4 at halftime. So he has scored 15 of his points here in the second half, and David will pick up the foul.
What we're starting to see here is Rivers again is trying to take over, but the athletic ability of DePaul is starting to become a bit of a problem right here.
Andy Loucks in the game. Holland sitting down again. Golden back in.
What you see here is right all ball, I think. Rod Strickland comes up with the ball, gets his head up. He made the pass up to Kevin Edwards, who made a tremendous dunk.
And Rivers now with 4 fouls. Gary Bose has 3. Golden is playing with 3, and Brundy with 3 for DePaul.
And obviously, it's important that Rivers not get his 5th foul, but I think David knows that David can play that way.
Loucks, they left him wide open for the three-pointer. 65-60. And Andy Loucks can shoot from three-point range 45% on the year. Digger Phelps upset with his club, not recognizing that Loucks can drill it. And he'll drill them in so doing. 65-60, DePaul with the lead, but 6 minutes are left.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
It's the rhythm of the road. It's the pulse on the street.
Pulse on the street.
City and town, magic sound.
If you want the adventure of it all, put yourself in today's Chevy S10 Blazer and listen to your heartbeat. And get $500 cash back on new 88 Chevy S10 Blazer.
That's today's Chevy truck.
Fans, please.
Mr. Garfield, welcome to Embassy Suites Hotel.
My room.
Here you get a suite for about the price of a room at most Marriotts or Hyatts.
Beautiful. Don't change a thing.
The living room, sir.
Love what you've done with this room.
The bedroom.
This is great. I need my space.
And, of course, you'll want to take advantage of Embassy Suites' free breakfast.
Food.
Served every morning.
At Embassy Suites, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy the sweet life.
I resemble that remark.
Welcome back, and remember this play, Quinn Buckner, because we were tied at 60 when Strickland forced this turnover.
Well, from this angle, what you'll see right here is Jameer Jackson, who's been playing extremely well for the Irish, takes the ball off a pick, and you see that Rod Strickland comes up with the basketball, makes a very good play. If your hand's on the ball, it's considered part of the basketball. Gets his head up, and makes a great pass to Kevin Edwards, who we've all seen today showing his athletic ability. Comes up with it over his head like he's playing football. I think that he may go out with the Denver Broncos here shortly.
Well, when you consider how far that pass had to go, just stopping himself in midair in time before he was forced out of bounds shows you what he's got.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ability in it. And it's raw. It's a lot of raw talent. You can see edges where he needs to pick up some things. But I think he's a very good player. You see DePaul is now out in the man-to-man.
And a foul against Bose, and that will be his fourth. Well, they got Connor rather than Bose away from the ball. Bose was bodying up as well. That's just the second on Connor. So a bit of a break for Digger Phelps, although he did not get a basket on that possession, and he's not happy about that.
Because that's a turnover. That's an opportunity. You come down the court and you don't get a shot at the basket, that's a turnover. He's not going to be real pleased with that. Great pass.
Grundy fouled by Jameer Jackson.
What happened there was Rod Strickland, with his great basketball ability, got in the air, which was somewhat of a mistake. As you'll see here, he drives into the paint. He really doesn't have a shot, know it. And what Stanley Grundy does is give him a passing angle. And right there was a foul by Jameer Jackson, who knew he should have cut off the baseline, didn't get there, and he fouled Stanley Grundy. And it's really probably not a bad foul.
And finally, DePaul gets to go to the line after the 7th team foul. Grundy will toe the line. 12 points for him today. And the students will make him work for it. And it won't go.
Notre Dame got a break there, because that should have been a two-point basket, possibly a three-point opportunity. And DePaul comes out of it with nothing.
Nice foul by Jameer Jackson.
Oh, absolutely.
5.5 left.
What DePaul is starting to do, as the ball gets out of David Rivers' hands, they're starting to increase the pressure on the other people with the basketball, which I think is a good idea.
Stevenson works off the pick and puts it in. Nice bit of maneuvering to get open by Mark Stevenson.
And good patience by, I think, the Irish. I think they knew that they had to take the time to get the shot. That's got to be a bit of an emotional lift for a young man who didn't know if he could play tonight or not.
Strickland. Golden is fouled. In position for the follow-up. One of our keys at the outset in Golden, although he's been riddled in foul difficulty, he's played well and blocked out when he's been in.
Well, he really has, and I think that Joey told him at halftime, don't stop playing like you're playing. You go ahead and stay aggressive after the basketball. We're worried about the fouls later. And there was an opportunity where he got at the basketball and got undercut, so he's lucky that he didn't get hurt. But as you can tell, the fans are not going to let him shoot this free throw without a little noise.
They always sell out for DePaul. 11,418, and they're all in Kevin Golden's face.
Yeah, they make you aware of their presence in this building.
Now, you had a few opportunities to come in here.
Oh, yeah, I remember that very well.
67-62.
and I think it's pretty good. What he's decided to do is to take the ball out of David Rivers' hands, coming down the court, give him the ball so he's got his dribble and create something. I think that's really going to help the offense of Notre Dame.
It's a three-point game now. Again, the speed of Grundy. Joey Meyer wanted a foul. And now Notre Dame could tie or move to within one. It's a clear out. Bose, who has 12 points, loses it. Edwards finds Strickland. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Jameer Jackson.
DePaul got a break on that one because there's no way that pass was going to get through that Rod Strickland threw. He hit it off an Irish knee, and I see a couple of people a little slow from the Irish getting back.
A couple of big guys, too, in the Irish attack. Bose and Rivers.
The two captains there. I'm sure they'd like to make sure they get up healthy.
40 ball.
4 minutes and 7 seconds are left. A full complement of timeouts for both clubs. We're headed to the wire on the first of 5 games here on ESPN. DePaul by 3.
Checkout time, Garfield.
Check out.
Embassy Suites Hotel was a great idea, huh? We got a 2-room suite with a wet bar and a refrigerator.
So what's the big rush?
And all for about the same price as a room in most Marriotts or Hyatts. There's even a free cook-to-order breakfast every morning.
Delicious.
What a great place to do business.
That settles it. We're staying.
At Embassy Suites Hotels, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy the sweet life.
No, but it doesn't hurt.
You're gonna get a lesson about intimidation. Did you learn anything?
4 minutes and 7 seconds are left, and the percussion section is working its magic here at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center, named after Father Joyce, of course, who meant so much to this Notre Dame program. You see Tommy Lasorda, Los Angeles Dodger manager there in the background behind Digger Phelps, a good friend of the Leprechaun and the Notre Dame basketball program. And right now with a 3-point game, they'll need all the magic they can get to withstand the DePaul Blue Demons down by 3. Each team with 3 timeouts, and you see the foul difficulty. Noteworthy, David Rivers has 4 for the Irish, and you see the rest of them there log jammed with 3.
Well, I think that's going to be a bit of a more of a problem for Notre Dame, not just for Rivers, but because of Jameer Jackson and both have 3 fouls.
And they forced a timeout. The students in that section. Joey Meyer was looking for a cutter and couldn't find it. So now DePaul is down to 2 timeouts, and that could become crucial. We have 4 minutes and 7 seconds left. Not bad for a football school, right?
No, not bad at all. They just played so well. I'll tell you what, the fans are up and into this one.
Digger Phelps came here from Fordham. He's had a lot of big wins, and here the crowd forces the timeout.
Well, the crowd, and Sean Connor does a good job, but I think Kevin Edwards had made up his mind where he was going, and then he got cut off. You know, somebody cut it off, and he didn't know what else to do. And actually, I think T. Green called the timeout because Kevin Edwards, again, had his mind made up. You got to take what the defense gives you, and I don't think he did it that time.
They love their hoops. David Rivers, the man of the moment for the Irish. They've been the spoilers. They're set for the spoils here in South Bend. Number 1 teams have fallen. They're talking Final Four with this club, even though they've lost 3 times. Strickland silences the crowd again.
That is something that I hate to see on a team. What you saw there was Ross Strickland, a great player, mind you, but he drives through the middle and nobody steps up to make him pick the ball up.
the shot Digger Phelps wanted. Bose does have good range, but I think he wanted him to work the clock and get a better shot then.
Well, he really did, and I think Joey knew that, and he got his defense to extend himself a little bit. They came out and played a little further out toward the half-court line, and you would let Bose take that shot. I would let him take it all the time.
Strickland over Connor. Edwards follows, and he's fouled by Bose. That'll be his fourth.
It's an offensive rebound opportunity, though. That's what you got. Rod Strickland going into the paint. He takes a shot over a guy taller than he is. He misses the shot, and Notre Dame's got to come up with the rebound. They don't, and right now you're looking right here at Kevin Edwards, a very good shooter, free throw shooter, at the free throw line.
Edwards. Bose, the inside game in jeopardy with 4. The outside game with Rivers now with 4.
Does it happen very often that an announcer jinx a good free throw shooter?
Welcome to the business, Quinn.
Thank you very much.
(70-64). DePaul with a 6-point lead.
Feels that David has had enough rest and it's time for him to go to work.
He won't get the roll. Grundy hauls it in for DePaul.
That's not the kind of shot you want to get. I know you want to get the ball in David's hand, but I would just assume see him get down, get somebody else into the offense, then catch the ball and make some things happen. Don't come down and take a shot like that.
And they've been successful with it throughout much of this game.
Yes, but this is crunch time, and the shots become they're a little longer than they appear to be at this time of the year. Right now, what we see, DePaul is going to hold it out until they get a good shot out opportunity.
Interestingly, the situation Digger Phelps worked on yesterday, his team up by 4 or 6 with a minute and a half left. The roles have reversed on Coach Phelps today. Strickland's shot won't go. Golden on the floor, and Jameer Jackson rips it away. And the Irish will have to come from behind. David Rivers, great shot.
David is looking around thinking that should have been a foul call, and I would have to agree with him there. He got in there, made a great play. He's got to take the basket, get back. Now he's got the fans into the game, and that's what they want to have.
A minute 50 is left, and now Joey Meyer running the clock. 30 seconds left on the shot clock. A minute 40 remaining in the game.
And you can see that Notre Dame has come out of the zone, and they've extended the defense also. They're now in the man-to-man. It's a little more passive than you would like to see, but I don't think they want to take the chance of the athletes going around their players.
They've used 30 seconds off the shot clock with this possession. Phelps looking for a 5-second call or a timeout. Green, Grundy losing it, ripped away, and Terrence Green drills it.
Well, DePaul got a break there. Again, that's an offensive rebound opportunity. They got up there, got out of somebody's hand on DePaul, but they end up coming back with the basketball.
What do you do here? Go for the hoop and then get the timeout?
Oh, absolutely.
Jackson, Bose is following, and that may be it for Gary Bose. Doesn't look good for the son of the caretaker today.
No, it really doesn't. Right there, what you had was Notre Dame tried to come down and they could have got just a good shot opportunity, because if they make that, they're down 4, and they're still pretty much in the basketball game. They'd have to extend their defense a little bit. But now what you have is DePaul has the basketball. They get 2 free throws here, and I think that puts him in a pretty good position. But I think 57 seconds is a long time.
Joey Meyer using the dead ball situation, gathering his team and talking with them. They had to separate them as they send Grundy to the line. We should mention scheduling now. The Irish went on the road for 4 games, went 3-1, but lost to Lafayette. That did not go over well with many of their fans. DePaul, for the first time in 3 years, lost twice at home at Rosemont, losing to Georgetown, and then Dayton, of course, Thursday night without Rod Strickland. So this is a big, big game for them. Strickland gets the foul, stopping the clock with 49 seconds left, and it's a 6-point game.
Well, as you can see, Joey Meyer is up and a little upset about that, playing well he should be. If you're in this kind of opportunity, you don't want to let Notre Dame go around you to get easy shot opportunities. But by the same token, and more importantly, you don't want them to score with clock, not running with time, not running off the clock. And that's what they're about. That's the opportunity they have here.
DePaul was up by 6 with 1:38. I should say Notre Dame was up by 6 with 1:38 remaining at Rosemont Arena in Chicago. And now it's DePaul up by 6 on the road here at the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center. And 50 seconds remain.
And what DePaul has done is bring in Andy Locks, who we mentioned a little while ago, has only turned the ball over a very few times, and excuse me, based upon the amount of minutes played. So I'm sure, as they should be, they're trying to protect the basketball.
Doesn't hurt to have a guy that you have confidence in like that. 72-68. You see the time remaining and the foul against Singleton, Tim Singleton, the highly touted freshman from Carver High School in New Orleans. They'll bring him in to pick up the foul and then bring in Connor as a designated offensive player.
Well, they got what they wanted out of that. They wanted to try to, if they're going to foul, so they want to make the foul as soon as possible, get down here, put a little pressure on the DePaul players to have to make some foul shots.
Blue Demons have 2 timeouts remaining. Notre Dame has 3.
And it was a good foul. That's just what they want to get out of it.
Sean Connor open for 3. Stevenson keeping it alive. Out of bounds to Notre Dame.
Well, we got an exciting basketball game here. Right now, Notre Dame has got the ball out under their basket, but I think Digger, rightfully so, is going to take a timeout. They need to make sure they get a good shot right here.
The Blue Demons are logged with the timeout. They'll have 1 left. 72-68 our score. DePaul with the lead and 38 seconds remaining. And there you see Matt Kilcohen and John Shoemate. They may be destined for head jobs one day. Digger's put 10 into the profession in his 15 years here.
Well, I'm sure they both have that thought in mind, and Digger's been very good about helping former players or people that work with him get those jobs. I think what they have to be considering right now is how do we get a quick basket and get back up in defensive pressure so we can come up with a steal. They don't need to necessarily foul right away, but if the clock gets down, you're looking toward the 20-15 second mark, then you got to foul. DePaul, on the other hand, has to come out, be able to get the basketball in once they, their opportunity presents itself, and then just protect it. They don't really need to take a shot.
Well, the Blue Demons haven't really been to the line in this game that often, and you know that has to be in the mindset of Joey Meyer. His club hasn't had that many chances, so when they get up there, they could be in some trouble.
Well, I'm sure that is a major concern. What I would have to do if I'm Joey is to make sure that I keep the ball in either Rod Strickland's hands, Kevin Edwards' hands, probably Andy Locks. But Locks has only taken 2 free throws from what I understand. I believe he made them. They weren't his, though. Brad Neiman got hurt in the basketball game, and Locks ended up taking those free throws for him.
In fact, Neiman has really played well for Coach Meyer, and we haven't seen him today. The freshman from Glenview, Illinois. But with Rod Strickland back, they haven't needed to call on him. Connor negotiates and adjusts and hits it.
Well, that might have been a little bit too easy for DePaul to let him get that shot, but they're still in good shape. They got the basketball.
And a block against Jackson, against Strickland. So they do get Rod Strickland at the line. That's the plus. The minus, well, 27 seconds are still left, and Joey Meyer realizes that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think DePaul has to be pleased because they got 1 of the 2 people that you'd rather have at the line. But I can guarantee you the fans are going to make it as difficult as they can right here for Rod Strickland.
We'll let you watch all of the action from his perspective.
And he got a shooter's bounce right there. Touched the rim a little bit in the front, rolled right in. That's a good shot there.
Still a 3-point game. And boy, does that matter.
Yeah, it definitely matters. And now all Notre Dame has to do is come down and get a good shot opportunity. They got the ball in the right hand.
Rivers is fouled, and Edwards was down there with it. And 19 ticks remain.
Well, you got a player like David Rivers. You get the ball in his hand and let him create some scoring opportunities for you, and that's exactly what he did there.
Tim Singleton, and here again the offensive-defensive substitutions. Connor leaves, Singleton comes in. Situation play has always been, in the minds of basketball critics, a real strength for Digger Phelps. His team has been down by 6. He's managed to lengthen this game and bring his club right back into it.
Well, you know, they worked on this pretty hard because of what happened to them in the last game. So they worked hard yesterday on it. They know the kind of things they have to do in order to get back in the basketball game.
Well, now an interesting scenario. It's a three-point game. With this much time remaining, do you miss it? Go for the offensive board?
No. I think they got to take their chance, make the foul shot, get here, and then Paul has got a foul. I mean, Notre Dame has got a foul.
Here comes the pressure from the Irish. Louts calls the timeout on the count of 4.
Safe play for him to make. He was in a position he didn't know whether or not he was going to get the ball in. I thought that he saw a couple people because I saw Rod was open. There was someone else open. But that's a safe play.
Sometimes the toughest thing to do is get it inbounds. Joey Meyer's team has to do it when we come back.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Now you can save up to $1,450 on America's best-selling cars, Chevrolets. Get $750 cash back when you buy a new Chevrolet Celebrity and save up to an additional $700 on option packages. That adds up to $1,450 in savings. Or save up to $1,075 on a new Chevy Cavalier. Great savings from America's best-selling cars.
The heartbeat of America. Just to say Chevrolet.
True Value Hardware Store's best interior paint just got even better. That's because now all 3 True Test Easy Care finishes, flat semi-gloss and flat enamel, are spatter resistant. So now you can give your rooms a rich, lasting coat without making a big mess. And after all, you're supposed to be painting your walls, not yourself. You'll find spatter-resistant True Test Easy Care paint at participating True Value Hardware stores.
True Value.
Tim Brando and Quinn Buckner, happy to be with you from the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center, where Rod Strickland's DePaul Blue Demons have the lead by 2. Now remember, DePaul out of timeout. So if they have difficulty trying to inbound, they can't call timeout. If they do, it's a technical, and Notre Dame would shoot at the charity line, and Joey Meyer can't have that. There's a foul on Singleton. It'll be 1-1.
No, I think that's a dead ball foul, though.
Digger Phelps upset about it.
Yes.
Well, they'll take their chances.
Yeah, I think they will. That's not necessarily a bad call. Because again,
they were on the count of 4 again when the foul took place. They nearly got the 5 count. Sean Connor comes back in, 33 in gold. He's the three-point shooter. Digger Phelps wanted a timeout there, but he couldn't get it once Strickland got his hand on it. Still a three-point game. Take 2 possessions for the Irish. They have 3 timeouts. Jackson. It's a steal for Rod Strickland. And Jackson is hurt. And the foul against Notre Dame. That could just about do it.
Well, this definitely puts Notre Dame in a tough position. Jameer Jackson just tried to get down and get a quick basket. And Rod Strickland got his hand on the ball and ended up coming up with it.
The team at DePaul needed a leader. They've got him back today.
See, it goes right there. Rod Strickland, as I said, got his hand on the ball. It bounced off of Golden. Strickland comes up with it, goes behind his back, and DePaul ends up with the basketball. Strickland's going to end up on the line.
He'll need a few seconds like the close of the first half to pull this one out. And they got 3 points from the free throw line at the end. Don't forget, this is just the first of 5 we have for you today. NC State against Georgia Tech will continue along Tobacco Road with Maryland at the Animal House, Cameron Indoor, where the 7th-ranked Blue Devils of Mike Krzyzewski await the Terrapins, who've already won twice in the ACC this year. And then, of course, tonight we'll continue with Virginia, the Wahoos, at the Dean Dome to take on the Tar Heels. And then our first Ohio Valley Conference game of the year, Eastern Kentucky and Murray State. Ralph Hacker will be on hand to bring you that game with Mike Pratt to close out a big day of college basketball on ESPN.
Well, I think that Notre Dame has got to be really hurting. They don't have Gary Voss in the game here, and then that's going to make a bit of a problem for them in case there's some rebound opportunities to get it out, get it up the court quickly.
Well, the 5th foul against Voss was huge.
Oh, it is monumental because they don't have anybody that can do the kinds of things that he can do. The leadership, the rebounding. It's hard to do anything from a backup point of view for Notre Dame with that.
Remember that steal, that pickpocket job Strickland had with the score at 60. Ever since then, DePaul's had the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. That was them getting out and playing, DePaul getting out playing a good defense, coming up with a good opportunity, and then from there, you're absolutely right. They've just taken off and played extremely well.
They converted with a three-pointer to make it 65-60, and their lead is now 6 with 11 seconds left. 2 three-pointers could do it. Stevenson. It won't fall, and time is running out. And the Blue Demons of DePaul have their second victory of the year against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, 77-71.
That's a great win there for DePaul. I mean, to come in here and play that kind of game in light of all of the controversy they have, they got to be absolutely elated that they came away with a victory here.
Quinn Buckner, it was a pleasure working with you for the first time. I look forward to the rest of the schedule.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. I enjoyed it. Great deal.
All right. Rod Strickland is back, folks, and the Blue Demons are 9-4 after today's win. Let's get back to Bob Lee.
Game 1 of our 5 live games. Thank you, Tim and Quinn. That final 77-71. So Joey Meyer now on his career is 5-3 in his favor head up against Digger Phelps. And in this rivalry, DePaul has won 9 of the last 12 games. A quick check of the scores, and we'll step aside for Super Bounce. Then be back at 4 o'clock Eastern Time with our continuing coverage, 3 games from the ACC, and our final game from the Ohio Valley Conference tonight. In the Southeastern Conference, Kentucky at Rupp at halftime, leading this one 39-25 over Tennessee. The Volunteers have not won a game at Rupp in some 9 years. Also in the SEC, Mississippi at Florida. 4-point lead for the Gators at halftime. Wake Forest and Clemson playing at Littlejohn, a 9-point lead for the Tigers. And in the Southern Conference, Tennessee, Chattanooga taking on Davidson at halftime now. Davidson has that lead 35-26. Late word just in from Washington, D.C. CBS Sports has fired Jimmy the Greek Snyder for the racial remarks he made yesterday to WRC television in Washington. Snyder, before the firing was announced, said, quote, "I want you to listen to everything that I said and then tell me what I said wrong," end quote. But a decision announced approximately 20 minutes ago, Snyder fired by CBS Sports. We will be back at 4 Eastern Time to continue our coverage from the ACC. We've got 4 more live games to look for you in about 2 hours' time. I'm Bob Lee. DePaul over Notre Dame in South Bend by 6. ESPN's NCAA basketball, DePaul and Notre Dame. Brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, Today's Chevrolet. By Embassy Suites Hotels, where you get a beautiful 2-room suite for the price of a single room. And by Dickies. They're America's favorite work clothes, but who says you have to work in them?
From the Great Wall to Wall Street, one airline brings our nation's business together throughout the U.S. and 13 foreign lands. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.